Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to Grim Dawn. So last episode I started on veteran mode and it turned out it was rather difficult and I wasn't quite sure if it was due to veteran mode or if it was due to the area I was playing and the difficulty of the monsters I was facing. So I did a little bit of running around. Basically I've just been running some bounties for Devil's Crossing, and a lot of these bounties have been in the earlier parts of the game. And as you might remember, most of the monsters here they cap out at about level 20. But if you pick up a bounty, the monsters that are generated specifically for that bounty, their level basically tries to match yours. So boss monsters will be around level 39 plus minus, well, minus 1 up to like 42, 43, roughly. So that's if content is matching my level, it's not going to be more than 2 or 3 levels above me. And that's basically bosses are going to be slightly above me, regular monsters are going to be at my level, and weaker trash mobs are going to be 1 level below my level. So I think the content that is basically just later on in the game around the homestead area, I think it's just slightly above my level, and that's why it's so tough. Plus the conflagration area I was in, it was pretty tough with all the poison and things going on. So I did a little bit of running around, did some bounties, and at some point I faced down Mr. Salazar, the leader of the Occultists near the Burbage area. And for the life of me, I couldn't take the guy down. So I thought back to something I was reading earlier this week about skill progression. And I realized I probably should respec some of my skills. So that's actually what I did. So what I was doing earlier this week was just check out on there's a site called grimcalc.com. And it's similar to titancalc.com. If you've played Titan Quest, it's a skill calculator. It's an online skill calculator. So basically you have this little window. The website basically just shows you this little window with the classes, and you pick the two class combination that you want to go through, and then you can just assign skill points and fill up the bars and see what the values are for the different skill levels and combinations of things. So I basically just neatly lined out the build I currently had, and I came down to, I had 68 points remaining. So then I just started shuffling around some points. And my approach for that was basically I just looked over every skill and I figured, okay, how much am I using it? So for example, if we use this brute force, it's a passive, and it adds a little bit of lightning damage and physical damage to every one of my attacks. Well, it's nice, but it's not the main focus of my damage. So I figured let's tune that down. It was at 5, all skills I had were at 5, so that was pretty convenient. So I tuned it down to 1 point, because it's a prerequisite of Feral Hunger. Feral Hunger, it has a chance to be used, but it's something that helps me stay alive. It's 25% of the attacks I do use it. It causes an AoE attack, and the more points I put into it, the more of my attack damage I steal back as health. So it's something that actively keeps me alive. So I probably should max this one a lot sooner than I should do this, because all this one does is add damage. This one helps keep me alive. Same thing for Upheaval. It triggers whenever I do critical damage. The thing is, I don't actually do a lot of critical damage, so these 5 points here, they were utterly wasted. So I just specced all the points out, and the damage didn't seem that significant either. Especially since I'm more of a summoner rather than a melee fighter. I figured, oh, let's be done with Upheaval and spend those points somewhere else. For now, Savagery is my primary attack, so I kept that one in. I might be able to switch it up or down a little bit, but for now it's okay where it is. Same for Tenacity of the Boar. The extra offensive and defensive ability are pretty nice, and the 44% increased health regeneration is pretty good at keeping me alive, especially because a lot of things give me health regen. It seems like a pretty decent boost. So I just didn't touch them. I kept them at 5, and they're okay where they are. So pets. Briarthorn, I gave it 5 extra levels, so it used to be at 5 plus 1 from an item, and now it's at 10 plus 1 from an item, so it's sturdier. and I kept its ability because the ground slam, it's AoE, it does decent damage and it stuns. And especially the stun part seems very useful to do a little bit of crowd control, and especially in boss fights, if the bosses are affected by stun, it should be pretty potent and should be interrupting and all that good stuff. And Morg Dragon's Pact, it's something that helps keep my character alive, and it helps keep my pets alive, so for now it's just staying. On the Occultist side, I cut out a bit more. For the Hellhound, I boosted his skill points from 5 to 10, just to give it more body, and to do that I took some points out of Emberclaw, because I'm not really using it, and it didn't seem like an overwhelmingly powerful attack. So I took 4 points out and just added more points to the Summon Hellhound, just to give it a bit more body and to make the basic attack do more damage. So that's basically my entire idea with all of these changes, is to, especially for the pets, take some points out of their abilities and just beef their body up and their basic attacks. And then once they are as sturdy as they can be and deal as much damage as they can with their standard attacks, then that's the point where I will start investing in their extra skills. And actually making this change was enough to defeat Salazar. So yeah, it's pretty good. That felt like a worthwhile change. Also, I did some crafting of items. I basically for every slot I talked to the Mr. Blacksmith here, and I just rolled one of these heavy armors. I mean, all they do is cost a bit of scrap and some money. I got enough money and I got enough scrap, so I just rolled something for every slot and equipped them where possible. So I think I got a new helmet out of it. I think these pants might actually have rolled green. Boots might be new. I don't know. I think the shoulder pads are new. So I rolled a couple of new items that worked. These boots or this coat, it requires more physique than I currently have, so I can't actually equip it, and the same goes for these pants. So I'm just waiting to get enough physique to actually equip them. So that's a work in progress. Probably basically just need to level up and then I probably can equip something. Next up, yes, crafting something. One of these relics. I don't actually have a relic yet, and I've been waiting for a long time to get a squishy brain part, and doing the bounties actually gave me one. So now is the time to craft something. And I think I settled on Calamity because it does physical damage, a chance of bonus physical damage, and I do decent amount of physical damage with my character, so that seems synergistic. There's extra fire damage, which is not something I do a lot of, and offensive ability, which is always nice to have, because since it affects your chance to hit and your crit chance, even though I don't actually have a crit chance. And it has a 5% chance on attack to trigger a secondary effect, which shoots 8 projectiles with an explosion radius that does fire and physical damage and burning over time, and you get an extra effect from that. So that seemed like a worthwhile investment. Let's see, do that one and then pick something from these. Basically I just tried to pick something that doesn't seem, basically that seems like the worst bonus. In this case 5% attack speed versus 6% cast speed, so just to sacrifice the attack speed. We combine them and we get a Calamity. What did we roll on it? 4% bonus to offense ability. So this should be a nice stat boost, 825. Chance to hit 93.7, where before it was 89.3. So that's a 4.4% chance to hit. Basically my chance to miss went from 10.3% down to 6.3. So basically my chance to miss went down by 40%. Which is rather significant. Okay,
Don't get killed out.
I think that's it for this area. So let's head back to the later bit of the game and see if we can do something useful over there. Maybe we'll head back to Homestead. And of course there's some angry dudes here. With the animator. Yeah, okay. I think they are done fighting. Let's head into town. And then I think for the questies we need to head this way. There's a bank exit. Hello there. As you were, stories from the front lines. I hope you never have to meet the Call of Cthulhu. They're very depraved lunatics, traitors to humanity who worship the very thing that threatens to destroy us all. If you've ever wondered if evil truly exists within the hearts of men, then look no further than the Bloodsworn. I take it they are not fans. Also, why is there people out here? Farmers. Funny. Look at farmers here. And they don't actually get absolutely murdered. Interesting. Well, let's secure some more farms for them so they can do some more farming. So these are our level 38 guys, level 39 guys, so that's just your average run-of-the-mill trash mobs. My level, more or less. So, probably some bigger ones in there, 40, plus 1. And there are the yellow ones. Okay, so those exploding fireball things are part of the questie I got. Okay, Dermapteran Egg Clusters. Need to knock those out. They appear as stars on the map, so they are easy to spot. Let's see if we can outline all the edges of the map. Oh, okay. So there's multiple farms here. Okay, let's in that case actually do one farm at a time. Oh, objective. Beaver, level 40. So playing it like this is a bit less of a frustrating experience. There's no hazardous terrain. It's not like I'm getting killed every 2 minutes. The game is indeed it's more challenging, but actually it's more challenging rather than unfair or overwhelming. And sometimes you really do have to weave in and out of battle just to reposition yourself, get a take a little bit of time to recuperate and then move back on. That's loot that dropped. And I think there's a lore bit in there. Dela's diary. Rolls off nicely off the tongue. Hey, and there's a quest to return it. An excerpt. Oliver doesn't want me writing in here anymore. He says it fills my head with dreams when there's work to be done around the farm. So I've been writing at night when he's asleep. He cannot stop the muse that pulls the strings of my heart. The Lashing Willow by Dela Thornsbury. The limb of the willow tree tapped a steady rhythm against the bedroom window. Another storm was building up on the horizon, but Dela could not shake the feeling that this would not just be another shower. She sat up in her bed and took a quick glance at her husband, Oliver. He was fast asleep. Not even a hurricane would stir that man from his slumber. Dela got up, making sure not to shift the covers off her husband. She tiptoed to the wardrobe and retrieved her gear. A well-worn suit of light leather armor and her trusty sword, Stormheart. The blade sparked with electricity as she removed it from its scabbard. The enchantment was still as strong as the day she had found it in the tomb north of Sorrow's Bastion. Dela replaced the blade and hooked the scabbard into her belt. She took one last glance at Oliver before heading out the door. It was best he did not know about her little nightly vigils. He would just worry himself sick, and Dela could not stand to see him so obsessed over her safety. The wind whipped Dela's hair around her face as she stepped out the front door. The rain was already starting to pick up. The ground was drenched in moisture, turning the path into mud. Dela tread carefully, planting every step on a stone or where the ground was still firm. At last, she arrived at the edge of the weeping willow, where a deep sense of dread immediately overcame her. I knew you would come out to greet me, Dela, my dear. A ghastly voice spoke from behind the tree. Dela drew Stormheart, its sparking surface turning the raindrops into mist. A dark figure showed itself and calmly walked towards her. She could not see the man's face, but she knew well who he was. Come now, is that any way to greet your brother? The man spoke again. Dela did not say a word. Instead, she let her blade do the talking for her. The figure countered her blows with a blade of her own, a burning sword that left streaks of fire across the air with every swing. I see you've been practicing, the man said with a grin forming on his lips. Thunder cracked in the sky as lightning flared down from the heavens, briefly illuminating the scene. The light from the storm revealed the face of Dela's adversary, the grisly, heavily decayed face of her dead brother. Travis, Dela hissed through clenched teeth. She dove in for another attack. So, it seems like we got a little adventuring scene on our hands here. Full of families reunited in death. Or something along that nature. So there are multiple directions we can go here. So in the end it all heads this way, to the southwest. So then a good assumption would be that the map stretches out to this way, and in the width it's pretty limited. So I'd probably better to clear the previous area, get all those egg things before moving on, since the egg quest is probably contained to this area. Is there question bugs, and I think by the time we've squashed all the bugs, it's time to end the episode. In between some gear, skill, and lore musings. Time has already flown by. Ooh, Wasperex, the Swifts. And the summoner of more thingamajigs. Reaver coming up. Homestead thanks us for this. A steel war axe. That's slightly below level. Bonus damage to ethereals and catonics. Skill interrupt. It's not bad modifiers, but damage is also not quite what I would want from it. So that's too bad. So let's see if we can find the edge and then walk back to the top side. One farm at a time, probably. It's so easy to just wander off and only half clear bits and pieces. Okay, completely surrounded. Whoa! Lifesteal is the thing that's keeping me alive here. Useful. Just a one-hander. Not quite a fit for my current build. Also, it's cunning based rather than physique. My cunning stat is not that high. Okay, got 8 of the bug eggs. Another one over here. 9, now we need one more. That's over here. Excellent. Or should I say excellent. Okay. Well. Let's have a look here. It's probably a small area to the side. Let's see what's up here. Ooh, a house. Okay, it's not anything in the garden here. Seems to be something to the side. Just some lumber. Wait, this seems breakable. Seems like it ought to be breakable. It's not. Dang it. Right, what's in the house? Gentleman's pack. Some gear bits. Okay. This is where you would expect something, right? Yeah, why otherwise would there be a house in the middle of nowhere? Okay, this is of course this is me as a gamer thinking about level design rather than as someone in the world thinking of a house. Why would there be a house here? Well, of course people live there. The house got abandoned. This is just an indication of just how desperate things have gotten. People used to live here. They have been driven off of their land or out of their homes. Well, at best. I mean, at worst, they just got killed. Let's see, more bit of farm. Just gonna do a check of this little bit of the farm. Yeah, this is another just a barn thing. Yep. Go through here. Okay. So that's the infested farms as well. I'll keep the infested farms for next episode. Just yeah. Okay. Oh, let's just portal to town. That's easier than walking. And see who is grateful for this. If someone is even grateful for this. And they better be grateful for this. Let's see, it's not to Douglas. Hey, there's more lore up there. Always good to double check the lore, right? No, it's just blue glowy. Let's see anything here. Let's see, I hear you are headed to the gruesome harvest. Be mindful of the possessed trolls. They are even stronger than their living counterparts and highly resistant to the ether. The vanguards can even unleash the ether in a burst of energy around them. The reanimators will quickly resurrect additional allies if not dealt with quickly. But if you manage to destroy them, their minions will fall along with them. So how do you know so much about it? I've dedicated all my resources to tracking down the ethereal threats, but it was too late to stop the events that led to the Grim Dawn. Now I study the enemy, learn their tactics, so that we may make no further mistakes. Trust me, I fully intend to use every resource at our disposal. Yeah, okay. It's also still. Let's look for Douglas. He's probably near the farms, right? That seems like a logical place for him to be. If he's concerned for the farms. That's Beatrice Summers. That's Elsa. There's a star on the map. Of course, I should have looked for the star. Any progress with the Dermapterans? I've cleared out the fields, as you asked. I'm relieved to hear that, and that you've returned in one piece. Dermapterans should not be trifled with, especially in such numbers. I will speak to Captain Summers about sending some guards out along with some of the farmers. We will have that field cleaned up in no time. In the meantime, I was hoping you would hear me out on a far more grave task. So, what is that? The Dermapteran hives are cyclical in nature. Every 7 years or so, they birth a new queen, which promptly proliferates their numbers and causes them to explode across the countryside. In the past, we were rallied together and exterminate the queen while she was still young. But after the Grim Dawn, the Dermapterans were allowed to thrive, and their queen has molted into a massive creature that spawns new Dermapterans by the dozen every day. She has to be destroyed, otherwise the insects will eventually run out of food and attack us in force. The queen is always guarded by 2 of her Grand Viziers, so you would have to acquire their pheromone glands to even enter her chamber. We know that the royal hive is somewhere out in the rotten croplands to the west of the homestead. After the way you handled the infested fields, I'm confident in your abilities. Will you help us halt the Dermapteran reproductive cycle? Man, that word keeps tripping me up. Dermapterans. I will gladly pull together all of our iron bits if you can pull this off. Oh, yes! 4 iron! And pony. Also 500 reputation. That's pretty neat. Ooh, I'm almost respected with homesteads. Cool. Okay. Let's see. Captain Sommer was down here. Beatrice Summer. Fix Beatrice Summer. Alright, so they don't actually give me anything new in terms of questies. Okay, well, that was a reasonably productive episode, I think. Also, this is a better indication of veteran. It's slightly tougher than normal, but it's not overwhelmingly tough. It's only if you put yourself into very challenging situations that things get dicey, as they also would normal. So I think this is a pretty good indication that veteran mode is here to stay, because it makes the game slightly more enjoyable because it's more challenging, and I do enjoy the challenge. So I thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye bye.